Welcome and good evening to the Lewiston City Council meeting for Monday, March 11th, 2013. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. First item of business is a Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item of business is citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the council on agenda items or other items you wish to bring to the attention of council. You're encouraged to discuss operational issues in advance with the city manager. In consideration of others wishing to speak, we ask that you try to limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Are there any citizens' comments this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there any items on the consent agenda the council wishes to pull? Councilor Randall.
Item C.
Item C. We'll move item C to active item E then.
E.
D-E?
D. But D.
Is this the revised agenda
That's
of 3-7?
No, but you're right here, Mayor.
Oh, I'm looking at unfinished. What am I looking at here?
Yeah.
Unfinished.
You need to go to
D.
D. Yeah.
Thank you. So that will be item D on the active agenda. Any other items that council wishes to pull off the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to read the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to read the consent agenda. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Approving the meeting minutes of the February 25th, 2013 special session and the February 25th, 2013 regular meeting. Accepting the minutes of the January 3rd, 2013 Historic Preservation Commission, January 9 and January 23rd, 2013 Planning and Zoning Commission, February 19th, 2013 Solid Waste Advisory Commission, and the January 9 and February 13, 2013 Youth Advisory Commission. Approving Resolution 2000-13 by title only, a resolution declaring certain discarded and gift books to be surplus, offering said items for sale and providing an effective date, and approving the vouchers payable for February 15th, 2013 through February 28th, 2013 in the amount of $784,940.24, and this excludes payments to Han Rental and Han Supply.
Okay, council, the consent agenda has been read. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
So moved. Second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as read. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. We'll move on to the active agenda. First item is Resolution 2013-6. I'll entertain a motion to read Resolution 2000-6.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we read Resolution 2013-6.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to read Resolution 2013-6. Any discussion by council? For information out there, this is to approve a state-local agreement for intersection improvements at Thane Road and Powers Avenue, 4th Street and 14th Street between the city and Idaho Transportation Department. That's for design only. So, Councilor Daniel.
And we're voting to read and then approve
To
resolution.
read. Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to vote to approve, correct?
Yes. So hearing no discussion, those in favor of reading Resolution 2013-6 say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Approving Resolution 2013-6 by title only, a resolution approving a state-local agreement for intersection improvements at Thane Road and Powers Avenue and 14th Street in Lewiston between the City of Lewiston and the Idaho Transportation Department, authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest respectively said agreement and providing an effective date.
Okay, Resolution 2013-6 has been read. I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2013-6.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2013-6. Is there any discussion by council?
No.
Councilor Daniel or Councilor Randall?
In the packet information that we received on first, second, third, on the third page, on the back of third page, I noticed under Section 1, General, Part 6, it says, if the project is terminated prior to completion, the sponsor shall repay to the state all federal funds received for the project and shall be liable to the state for any unreimbursed incidental expenses as provided for in Section 2, Paragraph 1 of this. Is that meaning that just for the design, or are we committed for the full project?
When we do a federal project and they award us the design or award us the project, we have to step that through, and they'll appropriate money over time for design, right away, and then construction. If anywhere in that process you decide you don't want to do that project, you have to reimburse all the funds that have been spent up to that point, including any state or federal funds.
So that does include the construction?
Yes. If you haven't started construction, no. Now, if you get up into where you're ready for construction, you'd have to reimburse for design and right away, basically.
Okay, so but if we make this approval on this, that means we're saying we're committing ourselves to the entire project?
No.
Just the design?
Just to the design.
So if we have to come back again for the right-of-way and for the construction,
Right.
for another approval?
But if you decide not to approve construction, then you're going to have to repay this all back.
Oh, you're going to have to pay design back?
Yes. Councilor Kleberg.
And right away, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we already own the right of way.
We bought the property in 2010.
Yeah, to accommodate.
For $158,000.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it would just basically be designed
Just design, right.
at this point.
And I guess I was speaking in general terms for the federal process, is at this point, they'll give you the design, and then you'll work your right-of-way in between design and your construction. But if we've already got the right-of-way ahead of time, that just cuts one step out of the process.
The value of this agreement with the state is approximately $35,000. We've already gone through another agreement with the state last year, which was for the preliminary design part of the project. This is for the project development part of the project. So when this is completed, then when they're ready for construction, there will be another agreement that would come before the council, which would be for the lion's share of the dollars for the actual construction of the facility.
Assuming the money's there at that time.
Yes.
Yeah, assuming that we receive the money, yes.
Okay.
Councilor
So,
Daniel.
is there any financial impact if we don't approve this? Is there, what monies would we have to repay at this point?
The total dollars,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how much we've expended to date on the project using federal dollars. Do you have that information? We haven't used any federal dollars. Okay, so we haven't used any federal. Right, so it's been all of our dollars. So we haven't actually expended any federal dollars at this point.
So, Mr. Mayor, that means we're not committed for any paybacks as yet?
As of yet, yes.
Right.
Councilor Daniel.
I'm assuming we can't amend this at all. I'm assuming this is a standard agreement with the,
With ITD, yes. It's definitely their boilerplate in
Okay.
federal highways.
I had to ask.
A lot of communities have tried because it definitely isn't community friendly. It's to the ITD and federal highways advantage. But if you want the funding, that's what you have to agree to. Any other discussion from council?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Stevenson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't approve of this project, the whole project, not necessarily the design part, but we're committed on this design portion, so I will go ahead and vote for it, but I just wanted to say that I still don't think this is the right time or the right place even, and that will be for another day. And then I also, just in case there's any issue about it, I want to disclose that I am an employee of the state, and I have no contact with the transportation department, so I don't believe there's any conflict of interest.
Okay, thank you.
And I do intend to vote.
Okay.
I think those are all the disclaimers.
I think you got them covered there, Councilor, yes. I would like to point out that this has been through not only the Transportation Advisory Commission for the city, but also I think has been reviewed by the MPO. And so it's been through several scrutinies plus at least one public hearing process, and probably more.
And a large, well-attended open house.
Open house, right. So that's one of the things that with this federal process, there's still more opportunity for public input too. Councilor Daniel.
Okay, so when we say recommended improvements, we're referring to the roundabout at this point. Is that the final?
Doesn't say roundabout.
Well, it doesn't sound, it's just basically coming up with some alternatives based on a traffic study of what it could be.
Okay. And
that could be one of the alternatives, yes.
Councilor Stevenson made a comment that we were committed to the design. I thought we just had said that we're not committed at this point.
This would commit us, I think is what you said.
This would commit us to the design process.
This would commit us to the design, okay.
Is that what you was meaning, Councilor Stevenson?
Well, what's that? What was the question?
That you'd stated that this would commit us to the design process by approving this measure?
Well, this is the design part of the project, right? Yeah, but I was interested in the wording in one of the pages, and I didn't mark where it was, but as a matter of fact, I thought it was interesting that it did say specifically that it was to build a roundabout, and it was interesting because that's what this study and everything is supposed to be proving, and yet it was already calling it a roundabout project. And I forget exactly where that was. It doesn't matter because when it's a project this size, it's already got its own steam. But I thought it was interesting that it was already predisposing to the roundabout. I'll look through here and see if I can find where that is.
Councilor Cleaver.
The resolution 2013-6, section 1 says basically that a state-local agreement for intersection improvements at Thane Road and Powers Avenue and 14th Street. Project number A013 in paren 442 is hereby approved and copies attached. But I certainly don't.
It was in the attachments. It was in the wording of the attachments, I believe.
I'll
look for it.
I know that at the open house, that was what they considered their preferred alternative.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Pro Tem.
I went through the whole document and read it, and I didn't see anywhere, Councilor Stevenson, where it said roundabout. So if there's something there that says roundabout.
It's in the agenda item history sheet,
Oh, it's just in the history sheet?
staff report.
It's about the third paragraph.
It says that back in November of 2010, when they had the public meetings on this, and Kittleson and Associates were reviewing the design alternatives, that the...
Oh, yeah.
That
November 2010, is that the paragraph he's reading?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and that may have been the one I was...
Right. It was identified at that time based on
Doesn't appear to be in the document.
their analysis and based on the comments from the public who attended the meeting, that the roundabout was the preferred design. So
But it is not in the document to IDT?
It's not, no.
Okay.
It's just in the item history.
Yeah,
and
I
narrative.
read the document. I didn't read
Okay.
the report from staff, I guess that's...
Also point out in item history, this is currently under design by TD&H as of a contract in September 2011.
Right.
So this is just part of that design process. Councilor Daniel?
I guess that's the part that's confusing me, because in section 1, item 2, it talks about the cost, and it'd be kind of hard for them to have a estimated project cost if they didn't have at least a pretty good idea what the project was going to be.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's why I was referring to, I mean, I'm assuming at this point that the plan is a roundabout, whether it's mentioned in here or not. I'm assuming that those amounts are based off of the estimated project, which would be the roundabout, not just a simple four-way stop.
Well, this project is identified in the Idaho Transportation Improvement Program, the ITIP, as being eligible for federal funding. So they've developed a cost estimate of what that project will cost. And I think they've done that irrespective of what the final design actually looks at. Because, they don't know until they actually finish the design of the project and then bid it to see exactly what the cost is going to be.
In the budgeting, federal highway transportation budgeting process, Councilor Daniel, that early on at the very first of the project, they want to get at least a foggy notion of how much this project's going to cost, because when they plug that into their 5-year transportation improvement plan, it has a placeholder of, say, for $2 million for the project, which may include design and right-of-way and construction. And then as you refine the design through the design process, and that number could change either up or down depending on design and if you save on right-of-way or that kind of thing, or it could increase. So, but they need to have kind of a general idea, and ITD has some general costing guidelines that you can follow to cost out, to do an estimate on a project at the early stages of design or before design. Any other discussion by council? Those in favor of approving Resolution 2013-6, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 4-2.
5.
Councilor Stevenson, you was an aye?
Correct.
Okay. Motion
I was lost in the crowd.
4-2. I thought I heard you say aye.
5-2.
Or 5-2, sorry about that. Correct my math. Next item of business is Resolution 2013-11, approving an agreement between the city and Jamie Shropshire for services as city of attorney. I'll entertain a motion to read Resolution 2013-11.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we read Resolution 2013-11.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to read Resolution 2013-11. Is there any discussion from council?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Randall.
Considering our potential financial problems that we may have with the personal property tax, and I don't know if we'll have any ripple effects from sequestering, although I know the airport's already going to be hit as of April 1st. I don't think it's appropriate for us to increase anybody's wages in the city, so I'm going to have to say no on this.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Is this discussion to read?
Yes,
or-
to
Okay.
read. Mhm. Any other discussion by council? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Approving Resolution 2013-11 by title only. A resolution approving an agreement between the City of Lewiston and Idaho Municipal Corporation and Jamie C. Shropshire for services as city attorney, authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest respectively said agreement and providing an effective date.
Okay, Resolution 2013-11 has been read. I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2013-11.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve Resolution 2013-11.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2013-11. Is there any discussion by council? Councilor Daniel.
I guess I take issue not with the city attorney, but with the process that this council is kind of allowed to happen with this. we never had a public discussion on whether or not we're going to open this up to other applicants. If we did, our city attorney, she has experience. She currently holds a job. She'd obviously have an advantage. But if we want to show that we're being good stewards of the people's money, we should at least open it up to other applicants to apply for, so that way we can show the public that, hey, we're trying to do the best we can with the money. The second part is this contract was submitted by the city attorney for the city attorney, and I would have thought that would have been, I would have thought there would have been some negotiating on it, but there's not. It was submitted, and now we're voting on it. And I'm sure it's standard practice, but I don't agree with it. I have some other issues in the contract I'll bring up in a second, but those are my issues with the process that we've taken to get to this point.
Any other discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Stevenson.
I would concur with Mr. Councilor Randall's comments in the approving to read. I think it's bad timing to be raising salaries. In fact, the state has not applied any employee compensation advancement for this next fiscal year, and I think that's an indicator that things are tight and we need to be cautious. And while the city attorney, I'm sure, is doing a great job, I think we need to be careful about how we accelerate our employees when around us it's not happening. So I don't support that. There are other ways to indicate approval and satisfaction with employees rather than raising base salaries.
Do you have some recommendations of how to do that?
Well, I wasn't planning to have that be part of the discussion, is it? I mean, we've got a resolution in front of us. That's what we're really talking about. So I hadn't thought of suggesting a different resolution.
Well, I feel it'd be appropriate that if you don't think one avenue is appropriate, or one avenue of action is appropriate to take, that it would be incumbent upon you to have some other method of action to put forth to the council to consider, instead of just, anyway.
Well, I suggested that it's not the right time to be raising employee compensation, so that would mean staying at the current base salary, and the other items were fairly innocuous. But that if you need a suggestion, I just gave one.
Councilor Daniel.
What's the this $7,224 a month? Is that 2% or 1.6? What does that represent?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, it's somewhere between 1.6 and 2%. There is money in the budget for 1.6%, as I understand it, but you're halfway through your budget year, so you have some movement there. And this is your opportunity to negotiate. We don't do that in private. We do that in public. So this is your opportunity.
Pro Tem Cannon.
Mr. Mayor, I am in favor of this resolution. I think Jamie has come on and done an excellent job. If council remembers, we have taken on the domestic disputes that we are now prosecuting, which has put a big load on her shoulders. She has done an excellent job representing the city in some of the actions that we have against this city, and we've become very successful in our favor in some of those actions. She represents a city with high quality. She represents a city in a manner that we want to be represented, and that we want to have an individual of that nature in that position. Opening up every year, because we can only go under a one-year contract with the city manager and the city attorney. But opening it up to everybody every year, to me, does not make any sense to me. That's just like opening it up to every employee. Why don't we open up to every employee about every 6 months then, if we're going to do that? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. You get good people, you hang on to good people, and we move forward. You don't open it up to everybody every year. but she has done an excellent job. We did approve the budget. It is in the budget. And whether it's the right time or not that we think that it is or isn't, you reward those individuals that do this city an excellent job and try to save this city as much money as possible. And her job as a city attorney is to do that and to help us do that, along with the city manager. So I'm very happy with Jamie. I'm very happy with what she's done over the last year. She's done an incredible job in the attorney's office, taking over for Don with some big shoes to fill, and she's done an excellent job of that. And the 1.5% or the 2% is not a huge amount of money in my eye, and she's well worth it.
Councilor Ortman.
Mr. Mayor, this is the time for us to be giving support to one of the positions that I think is going to be the most important for us as we move forward in a tight economic development. And I certainly am going to stand in favor of this for all of the reasons that Councilor Cannon stated, but also just as a partial rebuttal to Representative or Councilor Stevenson. You know, the Idaho state funding mechanism is certainly not something that I would put up as a standard to emulate in any way, shape, or form.
Point of information.
Yes, Councilor Daniel.
Could we find out what it is between 1.6 and 2%?
Can you get the
Work out the
figure?
numbers if you like. I can just tell you it's between there somewhere. It's not quite 2%, and it's a little over 1.6. It's probably, I don't know, 1.89 or something like that. I just try to round it to a number. Instead of having a few cents at the end of it, it's rounded up to a whole number.
I'd like to point out to council that the city attorney is actually, the position is hired by the council itself. And so if it's something that you don't like the hiring or advertising practices, we need to talk amongst ourselves to come up with a protocol that you think is appropriate. I think there was a good vetting process that went forward with the council that chose Jamie. Her qualifications definitely matched what our needs were, and she was hired by that council. This contract here is an annual contract. We can't hire her or the city manager for more than a one-year period. So this is an automatic contract. Renewal that comes up gives us a good chance to look at her performance, talk with her about any concerns or questions we have, and visit with her about, you know, what our expectations are. And so anyway, and this is part of that process. So, Councilor Daniel.
When is the contract up?
It's March. I'd have to look at my old contract. I'm not sure. It's within the next week or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
March 26th or something, was it?
Yeah,
It says
towards the end of March. Councilor Daniel.
I apologize for taking the floor so much, but like I said, we didn't have a chance to really discuss this in public, so this is my chance. What's the justification for, under termination, item B, after public meeting? What's the reason for giving 120 days after a new council takes place before any kind of movement?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, that was a clause that was in Don Roberts' contract and had been in there forever. Because his contract was so old, we couldn't find it. And I didn't realize until we did Mr. Bennett's contract that that clause had been left out of my contract. It's a traditional clause that's put in both for the city manager and the city attorney. It gives both positions that are hired by the council an opportunity to get to know the new council and the new council to get to know the city attorney. It's just a way to try and no matter what the political situation is at the time, to try and even things out for at least that first 4 months.
Ms. Shropshire, I think also that 120 days is not just a part of your contract, but isn't it something to do with state statute that says that a new city council has to wait 120 days before they make changes?
I'm not aware of that statute.
Okay.
For
I know we had to
attorney.
wait. There was a 120-day waiting period on the previous city manager, too.
There may be under the city manager code. There are very few codes that apply directly to the city attorney's office.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Randall.
along with that wage increase, if I remember right, the city attorney also gets to participate in the Percy program that's offered to the rest of the city employees. So that means that each time we increase the salary by a percentage, we also have to increase the flat amount that we pay into Percy. So just be aware of that. It's not just a wage increase. There are other expenses that are increased to it that if we okay this.
Any other discussion by council? Councilor Daniel.
So we're not negotiating anything, is that what I'm hearing from the rest of the council? I mean, we're just, it was submitted, and we're just gonna approve it? I mean,
If you have some amendments to this resolution that's on the floor right now, this is appropriate time to do that, council.
on section, the termination after item B, it talks about the, in the event that the city chooses to terminate this agreement without cause, the city attorney shall receive severance, a severance benefit equal to 6 months' salary and the cost to continue healthcare benefits for 6 months. I move that we change both amounts from 6 months to 3 months.
And I think the motion to amend has failed for lack of a second.
I'll second it for the purposes of discussion.
Okay? So,
And if I might, Mr. Mayor, this is the same section that's in the city manager's contract.
yeah.
We try to mirror those as much as we can.
Councilor Daniel?
Well, I was going to say a
Cleaver?
particular reason, or?
I want it to be justified to me that it should be six months. This is the people's money we're talking about. That's 6 months worth of pay. That's what, $40,000 roughly. I want it to be justified. Why would just give that out? Why should it be 6 months? The council should be able to speak to everything that's in this contract of why it's a good thing, as opposed to, well, it's just been tradition. I understand it's tradition or whatnot, but we should be able to justify it to the citizens why we voted for it. And so I just threw out a number just to see.
Mayor, if I might?
Yeah,
Since,
Mr. Bennett.
you know, that provision is in the city manager's contract as well. There is a reason why that's in there. And the months vary from, depending on the nature of the job and the community. But the reason that is in there is because the nature of the job of being either a city attorney or a city manager is such that those jobs don't come along very often. They're quite scarce. If one moves from one position to another, it usually takes a considerable amount of time to find and or interview or be selected for a new job. And it's not like a job where there are a lot of openings and opportunities for employees to look for other employment. In those particular cases, there aren't. And so it's understood that there's a period of time that it's going to take in order for someone with those kinds of qualifications and experience to find another suitable position. That's the reason. Now, you don't have to agree with that reason, but that's the reason why it's done that way.
Yeah. There are some public works directors I'm aware of in the state of Washington that have, some even have a year of severance. So, Councilor Daniel.
And that's a good reason for the employee, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good reason for the employer, in this case us. And so I guess that's why I'm waiting for, from the council's perspective, what's our justification for having it? I understand, I mean, I would love to have that in my deal with where I work, but that'd be a great benefit to me, the employee, but it wouldn't be to my employer. What's our justification for allowing the 6 months versus 3 versus 10 versus 1? I guess I haven't heard that yet. But
I think that for me, Councilor Daniel, that the 6 months is appropriate for without cause, because they haven't done anything deficient in their job performance in that. It's just that as a group that the council's decided to terminate their services. And when it's not a reason for malfeasance or job performance or something like that, that I think in fairness that 6 months is a reasonable time frame for the reasons Mr. Bennett has outlined. Councilor Daniel.
I guess in some ways I could understand your point, but in others, we're not we may employ her, but we're not directly over her on a day-to-day basis. So it'd be kind of, unless there was something that came out in the newspaper, we'd never know about, about cause. I mean, we're not there on a daily basis. We're a few times a month meeting counselors. So I guess that doesn't quite make sense to me, but I guess we can vote on this.
I think if the attorney had done something that got her disbarred, that would be motion for cause. I think there's several examples we've probably come up with for cause. And this only covers for things that isn't for cause. So the wrong bumper sticker on the back of her car, or who knows, but it's just not a reason that is for good causation for termination.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Randall.
even though I'm against this whole contract, I can understand the mayor's discussion here about the 6 month without cause, especially under current economic conditions. It might be hard to find a position with those qualifications. And so I can sort of understand that. 6 months would not be inappropriate, I don't think.
I seem to have a little experience with that, and I agree. Any other discussion on the amendment on the floor to reduce the 6 month severance to 3? Hearing none, those in favor of the amendment say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Aye.
Nay.
Nay. I have 3 ayes to 4 nays. Amendment fails for lack of majority. Is there any other discussion on the approval of Resolution 2013-11? Councilor Daniel.
Once again, I apologize for, I wish we could have had this discussion at a work session to hammer out these details, but I move that the monthly salary be reflective of 1.6%, which I...
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to change the monthly salary to a 1.6% increase.
What's that dollar amount, Counselor?
That's what I'm waiting here. Since nobody here seemed to, we know the current amount on here, set 7,224, is somewhere between 1.6 and 2%. I figure 1.6 is, my understanding, is what the rest of the employees of the city had received. So if we're going to do a raise, why don't, I figure 1.6 would be more equal.
Any other discussion by council?
I've got no problem with that line of reasoning.
Okay.
That isn't the percentage, though, right? Did we give 1.68%?
You can figure what that dollar amount is. That's fine.
The amount that was of 1.6% is correct.
That's correct.
Any other discussion? Okay.
What,
Pro Tem Cannon.
you said 1.6% was correct?
Yes, that is the right amount as far as the percentage increase that was given to the other city
The other
employees.
city employees, okay.
Correct, yeah.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the amendment say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Nay. Motion fails for lack of a majority, 3 to 4. Councilor Daniel.
Like I said, my issue, my primary issue with this whole contract was just the process that we went through. It wasn't anything against the city attorney. I really think we should open this up to other applicants to at least try that. That's why we have yearly contracts, is because we're supposed to give the opportunity to show the citizens that we're being good stewards of their money. That's my primary issue. And 2, we have a contract that was submitted by the person that is going to benefit from it, but we haven't changed a thing on it. We haven't negotiated on it. Where's the give and take? I haven't seen any. So I'll end up voting no, but I'll...
Okay. Any other discussion? Those in favor of approving Resolution 2013-11, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign.
Nay?
Nay. Motion
passes 4 to 3. Next item of business is vouchers payable, approving the Han Rental, Han Supply vouchers payable dated February 15th, 2013 through February 28th, 2013 in the amount of $398.86. I'll entertain a motion to approve the vouchers payable with Councilor Kleberg abstaining due to conflict of interest.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign.
Sorry.
Your
Take that aye back.
motion passes 6-0 with Councilor Kleberg abstaining for conflict of interest. Okay. Next item of business is Resolution 2013-7, approving the Federal Transit Administration certifications and assurances. I'll entertain a motion to read Resolution 2013-7.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to read 2013-7. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Approving Resolution 2013-7 by title only, a resolution approving the Federal Transit Administration 2013 certifications and assurances and providing an effective date.
Resolution 2013-7 has been read. I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2013-7.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution 2013-7.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2013-7. Is there any discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Randall.
a question or information. Could we have a brief explanation of what this is for?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I can tell you this is a resolution we have every year, much the same as we do building codes every year. The Federal Transit Administration simply requires that we have a yearly resolution to approve their certifications and assurances, which many of them have to do with anti-discrimination ordinances and some other things. There are 72 pages attached that we are agreeing to, so if you've looked at them, it's more routine than anything else. They just require that we do it every year.
I noticed there was,
For the federal funds.
I noticed there was a lot concerning the bus system.
Yes.
That's
That is our
prim-
transit system.
That's primary
Yes.
what it's for.
Correct.
Now, we sign a separate document with the Federal Aviation and their certifications and assurances too.
Yeah, this
Thank
is
you.
just what the Transit Administration has to do with buses.
Any other questions or comments from council? Hearing none, those in favor of approving Resolution 2013-7, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. We'll move on to unfinished and new business. Is there city councilor comments this evening? Councilor Ortman.
Mr. Mayor, tomorrow is going to be a great day in terms of the Idaho Territorial Capitol replica, and that the last load of hand-cut wood has been delivered, and tomorrow is the day that they plan to complete the ceiling in that building. The donated lights that are on the walls are ready to be hooked up. The electricians are there, ready to do the last stages. There will be obviously some interior preservation work for the material as well as some exterior things, but would like to thank Senator Mitchell and his wife for their contribution of the banner on the outside, which tells us what's happening on the 10th of July. We are excited about the people who've already started saying yes, they will show up for that day. Former Secretary of the Interior and former Governor of Idaho, Cecil Andrus, will be here. Former Lieutenant Governor from Lewiston, David Leroy, will be attending. It's still too early for, normally the governor and the lieutenant governor don't make commitments on their calendar until after the legislative session, so we haven't heard from them yet at this stage about their presence on that day. But we have, I just picked up this afternoon another check from another city in Idaho participating and sending us a little bit of money to contribute, as well as all of the grade school kids here in Lewiston who've done a really fun job of supporting that project. There's a second project, and if I could defer my time to Chief Orr, I would like to do that. I kind of convinced him and Noel Abbott to get involved in this project, and he's given us a flyer this evening. I know that he already has some funds that have been contributed towards the $5,000 goal to put a flagpole on the outside of the library. It's not an ordinary flagpole. It's a security pole with lights, et cetera, and Steve will talk to us about that, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Chief
Thank
Orr.
you, Mr. Mayor and councilors. You're absolutely correct. It is an exciting project. The Veterans Council has partnered with the Library Foundation to fund this state-of-the-art illuminated flagpole that will be the contribution from the veterans within our region here. It is a $5,000 goal. We had an article in the Lewiston Morning Tribune on March 1st. We've received several donations from that. I did pass out flyers to the members of the council tonight, and I also have some posters that will be going out to different locations throughout the city. So we're excited about the project, and we're asking all veterans in our valley to come together and donate to this worthwhile project. I'll stand for any questions if you have.
And people like me who are not veterans, but who are honoring veterans.
Absolutely, and we've had several people already make a contribution in the memory or in the honor of a veteran. And what I'm trying to do is, when I get those memorandums, is to have the branch of military that the veteran was in, or the conflict or year period that he was in. There was a kind of a misstatement in the newspaper article, and I called a very nice young lady, 92 years old, last Friday, about a sizable donation she made, and she wrote on her note on the plaque, "I want in honor of this person." And so I called her, because the way the article read was that there would be a plaque for each person honored and each donor. And the reality is that the library director, Alexa, will be working on a digital display or digital register in the library that will have a listing of donors and those honorariums for different veterans. So we're excited about that, but I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Orr. It's an exciting project, and thank the Valley Veterans Group for taking this on.
Okay.
It's a tremendous organization.
Before I leave the topic, I did thank Chief DeYoung, I should say, for the actions of his staff yesterday when our family had reason to use the ambulance service. It really opened up my eyes, as former Councilor Bush said today. You know, we've haggled over how many people we should send out and what should be our staffing levels, et cetera, in the fire department, but I have certainly personal knowledge of the effectiveness of our EMTs and their service to the community, and I am appreciative, as I know many other citizens are, when we hear from them.
Any other council, Pro Tem candidates?
Can I get a quick report from our library director? We're going to be moving this library shortly, and I'd like the citizens to know what and how long we're going to be closed, and all those good things, and how we can help.
Thanks for your interest. Things are going really well. We're going to be closing soon in April, and we'll be closed for about 8 weeks. Opening up June 8th, so just in time for summer reading. Summer reading starts June 10th, so this will be the next summer, the first summer in the new building for summer reading. So very excited. Things are going really well. We're moving into finish work, so we just had some hardwood floors refinished upstairs. So if you were just there last week, it just happened on Friday, so you'll have to stop by. The next tour is with the library board on Wednesday at 3 3:15, so you're welcome to join us.
So the grand opening ribbon cutting is scheduled for what day?
June 8th, Saturday, June 8th.
Saturday, June 8th. What time?
I haven't determined that
Yeah, okay.
yet. We have such
I won't put you on the spot
a
then.
full day planned, probably early morning to late night celebrating, so it should be fun.
So if people want to help move the library and get involved in that, what's the process?
They can either stop by the library and pick up an application. We have applications for individuals as well as for groups. We've had a lot of Cub Scouts, church groups, various groups interested in working as a team. So we're taking both individuals and groups. We're also taking children, teens, adults, all ages will find a task appropriate. So you can also go to the library's website, lewistonlibrary.org, and there's an online application that you just basically name, phone number, and we'll be in touch. We are planning April and May primarily for our volunteers. So it's we've gotten so many. We've gotten a couple hundred volunteers already interested in helping us move. So the more the merrier. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And the reason for an application?
Just to find out if they have any special skills that they might be able to contribute. Obviously, you know, washing books or heavy lifting, always needed. Okay. But we have other projects as well. We are reprocessing the 75,000 items in our collection. And so if you have fine detail work skills or like stickers and labels, we have some of that work as well. So we have a lot to do and need all the help that we can get. And so we're really looking forward.
And I know there was some questions in the community about why an application, so I'm glad you clarified that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's
so
mainly,
they didn't know
we want to
why
make
if
sure.
It was an insurance thing or, you know, is somebody going to get hurt or, so I'm glad you clarified that.
It's also primarily to find out if their children, if they're going to be accompanied by a parent or if there's an adult supervisor for the group that's coming in. We're just receiving such a high volume that it's helping us sort of triage how to contact them, email as well as phone number.
Okay. Thank you, Alexa, very much. It's an exciting time for our community.
It is very
so
exciting.
Thank you.
It looks beautiful. The hardwood floors. Oh, it's, you know, the original hardwood floors, and if you haven't seen it, it's a showstopper. So the character of the building is coming through, and as well as the fine touches, the detail work in the cabinetry and the casework, the colors, the painting is going in. So
Great.
It's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other city councilor comments? Councilor Randall.
You noticed in the newspaper, they had an article about the airport tower being closed down, and it's fairly likely by April 1st that the tower will be closed down. I would recommend that the council have a letter sent in protest about having the tower shut down, because we spent some money on that South Side project for the airport, and having that tower available is part of the marketing program for getting somebody to move into that South Side at the airport. So I would ask that we consider having a letter sent in protest to Wendy Fredrickson, who is the air traffic controller manager.
But also maybe send them to our congressman too.
Yeah.
Federal congressman.
Yeah.
If that'd be appropriate. It's consensus there to do that.
That letter is being prepared as we speak right now.
Okay.
For our Idaho Congressional Delegation. I've been talking with Deanna Scrabeck at the airport and others who are concerned about that as well. And we will have that ready to go out pretty quick.
Okay.
Could we enlarge that to, since we serve the regional area, could we enlarge that to the Washington legislative group as well?
I think we certainly can do that.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett.
Because I think, well, the Pullman Airport isn't towered, so I'll leave it at that.
That's fine.
Councilor Daniel.
I'd like to see the letter before I give my consensus to put my name on it.
Okay. Or it could be prepared for my signature too. But I represent the council, so it'd be appropriate that the draft be sent out for the council to review.
We would do that, of course.
Thank you. Any other council comments?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Stevenson.
Thank you. I don't have a comment, but I have a question, and maybe it would be more appropriate under either the city manager comments or the work session agendas, and that's to inquire about our budgeting timeline and calendar.
I think Mr. Bennett has, we've got the Saturday, this 23rd, is our
Right.
first budget meeting in the morning, starts at 8 in the morning.
So we will have that at the police training facility,
Please.
Saturday, March 23rd, at 8 o'clock until however late we need to go to cover the basic format for the work session agenda. So that'll be our first opportunity to talk about where have we been, where do we want to go, what kind of outcomes do we want to achieve in the coming budget year, and then to look at, what kind of resources and expenses we'll need to incur in order to accomplish those things. So we're going to begin that process a little earlier this year.
Okay, so first one's March 23rd. Any other councilor comments? Mr. Bennett, any city manager comments this evening?
I was going to talk about the budget process, so I think we've already covered that.
Okay. Advisory board and commission appointments. Councilor Randall?
I have two candidates for the Solid Waste Advisory Commission, and that would be Kevin Kelly and Joe Hewlett. And I recommend that they be put on the SWAC.
It's been recommended that Kevin Kelly and Joe Hewlett be appointed to the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Recommendation stands 7-0. Thank you. Councilor Randall, any other?
No.
Councilor Kleber?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have actually a couple of reappointments, so I'd ask the council's approval on reappointing Maxine Miller to the Urban Forestry and Cemetery Commission. And Forrest Donnell has requested reappointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. He really seems to enjoy the job. So, and Maxine's been our secretary for the last 6 months.
So the recommendations for the reappointments of Maxine Miller and who?
Forrest
Donnell. Yeah. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Recommendation of reappointment stands 7-0.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Randall.
I'd also like to mention we still have some more openings on the Solid Waste Commission, so.
Okay. Very good. Any other work session agenda topics or advisory board and commission? Councilor Kleber? No. Work session agenda topics. Councilor Kleber.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe next meeting, if we've got time, Mr. Barker might be able to bring us up to speed on what's going on up at the golf course, how they're coming along, how we're coming along.
Okay. Golf course update.
We just have to invite Tiger Woods and we've got it made.
Okay. Anything else for work session agenda topics? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session regarding property acquisition per Idaho Code Section 67-2345C.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session regarding property acquisition per Idaho Code Section 67-2345C. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Stevenson.
unless you, or will you be coming back into session afterwards?
No, we won't.
Okay, well then I will, when we're concluded here, then I will ring off and I will see the council in approximately 2 weeks. Well, I'll see you on the 23rd.
Okay, sounds great.
And then we should be done here
All righty, good.
shortly after that.
We'll hold you to that.
Everyone's pretty anxious.
All right, well, good. All right.
And I didn't know if, well, I missed my opportunity under city manager comments, councilor comments. Is Mr. Marsh there this evening?
No, he isn't.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay, those in favor of going to executive session, say aye. Aye. Those
Aye.
opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. We'll reconvene after a 3-minute break. Thank you, everyone, for attending. We won't be reconvening for any other business after the executive session.